Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just add to that from the discussions I've had with the Fed, it has to do with the ability of people to sit in a room and discuss something without having it appear the next day or being second-guessed the next day also. Let me do a couple of things in the minutes that I have. Mr. Paul has a devoted follower either in or near my congressional district named Brian D'Amico, who regularly calls me about this. And one of the questions that he has asked me about is the question that Mr. Castle raised in his opening statement. I just wanted, and I'm not a high-tech person, so I'm going to do this at some risk, but there is a website at which all of these reports about the various funds that the Fed has been administering under the emergency authority are dealt with in some detail on pages 1 through 3 of this report, on pages 16 to 22 of the report that I put in under unanimous consent. But that information is also available on the Fed's website, http://www.federalreserve.gov/monetary-policy/BST_Fed financial.htm. I probably got something wrong there, but for all Mr. D'Amico, Mr. Castle, the world out there, please go and look at what is already up on the website before we continue to second guess what we ought to be demanding that they put up. Second, I'm delighted to hear the emerging consensus of both sides of the aisle that this ought to be done as part of reg reform. Mr. Paul and I have had that, Dr. Paul and I have had that discussion a number of times, and I feel strongly that to do this before we know what the ultimate authority of the Fed will be under regulatory restructuring is just an invitation to go back and have to do it again at some subsequent point, and we ought to do it as part of the reg reform process. Finally, Mr. Alvarez, you are the general counsel, so I think you'd be in probably as good a position. You started to address this issue in your response to Mr. Paul. I addressed it generally in my opening statement. The difference between a regular CPA audit in the public context and the definition or coverage of a GAO audit as we think of it in the government context. I presume a GAO audit is just not a report of the numbers. Talk to us about what a GAO audit authorizes the GAO to do.
Thank you very much, Congressman. You're exactly right. Our financial statements are audited by an actual accounting firm in the traditional sense of audit that people think about, checking the numbers and making sure they're accurate, and that we make public on an annual basis. The GAO looks at discrete areas or broad areas. It has access to all the information of the agency. It then formulates suggestions on how the agency should develop policy. It may make suggestions about the very policy itself, provide that information to the agency. So it is not directed at just verifying what has occurred or verifying the accuracy of statements. It really is meant to be more a policy guide for the agencies. So it does involve itself in making recommendations about policy decisions.
So I take it if we didn't clarify this or be more specific about it, we might, Mr. Paul might 5 years from now be requesting a GA audit of the GAO and its comments because it has pretty broad authority to get into policy decisions, things that are not just numbers crunching. That's the point you're making.
That's exactly right.
Okay. You're back. Thank you.
We have maybe only one 15-minute vote, so we're going to break right now. There's a possible second vote. The gentleman from Texas and I don't plan to stick around for the instruction motion vote over there. So we're going to go vote on the rule and come right back and continue this because of the importance for the day. So we are in recess, but not for more than 10 or 15 minutes, as long as it will take Mr. Paul and I to go over, vote, and come right back. Is recognized for 5 minutes to question.
Mr. Alvarez, in your testimony, and you made this point several times, you said we want the American people to have as much information about what we're doing that to the extent that it doesn't jeopardize the performance of our duties. And here's the question I have is if I go to the doctor and the doctor says, I'm going to review your test, he reviews my test and he says, I'm going to tell you everything I think you need to know. I'm just not going to tell you everything I know. I immediately become interested in what he is not telling me than more interested in what he is telling me. What are those things that would keep you from being able to do your duties that you shouldn't tell us?
Very good question, Congressman. I think this is more akin to what should your doctor tell the public about your health, not about what the doctor should tell you. I think our concern is not about hiding information. It's about maintaining the integrity of the process for making monetary policy. Monetary policy involves, as does congressional policy development in other areas, a lot of discussion and debate about ideas that may work, ideas that won't work, about data that may be meaningful, data that may not be meaningful. It requires an unfettered and broad discussion. That discussion is, that process is what we seek to make sure is effective. Also, monetary policy depends very much on the market's understanding of whether the Federal Reserve will move in a particular direction, how it will move in a direction, whether it will stay in that direction, and when it will change directions. If it looks like the Federal Reserve is changing directions because a statement of policy review by another agency is influencing the Federal Reserve's decision, not because the Federal Reserve is moving based on data, but is in fact responding to a GAO policy recommendation, then the integrity of the process will be undermined. Confidence that the Federal Reserve will move in a direction that is best for the economy will be undermined, and we won't be able to carry out our job as well. And that's what we're concerned about.